crunch time for chat control. The EU's plan to scan private messages and flag to the police any content suspected of being child sexual abuse. In a month's time, ministers are set to decide on how to proceed with the controversial law. For more, our technology editor, Peter O'Brien, joins me on set. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Aaron.
So tell us more. What's in this bill, then?
Well, for some, it's a new tool to tackle the scourge of child sexual abuse online. For others, it's another step towards a techno-police dystopian continent. Now, 3 years ago, when the European Commission first proposed this, they said they were going to tackle child sexual abuse material, known to many people as child pornography. They were saying more than half of children experience some sort of sexual abuse online. That's why something's being done. Now, a lot might still change in the bill, and a lot is left to be enforced by the new EU agency that's provided for in the law. But from what we gather so far, essentially the way it will work is if you are going to send a photo or an image or a link on any messaging platform, encrypted or not, within the EU, you will first have to say yes to some sort of pop-up, and this will mean that these images and links are scanned on your device by artificial intelligence. If any of them are considered to be suspect, they will then be referred to the authorities. Bear in mind that this is a watered-down version of the first draft, which actually proposed to scan not just images and links, but every single text you sent.
So how does the technology distinguish between exploitative content and for what is probably common, regular photos of people's children, including in the bath, for example?
Yeah, in the bath, holiday pics. This is where it gets ambitious as a law, but also extremely controversial. That new agency that I mentioned, the EU agency set up to oversee the implementation of this new law, well, they'll be tasked with coming up with a massive database of so-called indicators of the kind of child sexual abuse material to look out for. So this is essentially a big database of what will probably be similar to the real thing, if not the real thing. The AI will scan the picture you're wanting to send and therefore cross-reference it with this database. This is how AI is very good. What AI is very good at in general, it's good at understanding a lot of information at once, and it's good at noticing patterns. But it's also very vulnerable to ways to damage its database, ways to dodge around its controls. It's got what's called a large so-called attack surface, which means there are lots of ways to try and trick it and circumvent it. So for instance, you could doctor the link, you could doctor the image, maybe you could overwhelm the AI with false positives, right? People online are even joking that they're going to start flooding it with loads of naked pictures of themselves. Now, I can see one counter argument here from the Commission, which is that if it's an imperfect system, its very existence and the knowledge that your messages are being snooped on might be enough to deter people anyway. But knowing the internet, culprits might just still find a way around it and be pushed into more covert and more difficult to trace platforms. But the big problem here from privacy activists is that everyday users are going to be exposed to a whole new vulnerability, which is the breaking of their end-to-end encryption services, and bad actors will be desperate to get their hands on this vulnerability.
Now, I imagine there's some degree of unanimity about the validity of using this type of system for exploitative content, especially as it comes to children, but this can also be a slippery slope.
Yes, so if the authorities start scanning for child sexual abuse material, who's to say other governments in the future might not start using this for maybe less egregious crimes, or maybe other more authoritarian states will think, why don't we have something like that? One person who has been following this closely is Callum Voge from the Internet Society. They're, of course, dead against the bill. They get millions of dollars a year from owning the .org URL and put this money towards advocating for privacy rights. Take a listen.
There was a case, I think last year or perhaps the year before, with images that were flagged to the police, where it was actually a father sharing photos of his child to medical professionals. The child had some sort of rash or medical issue, and this was flagged as child sexual abuse. And for the father, it took, I believe, over a year to kind of clear his name. But for quite a long time, this was a legal battle that he had to fight. If there are billions of messages sent every day through WhatsApp and Signal and other platforms, even if the AI accuracy is over 99%, that's still millions of potential false positives every day.
Indeed, some privacy activists say the only reason this law is being considered in the first place is because AI companies see big business in building the kind of system it requires.
So what happens next then?
In a month's time, there will be a political meeting between foreign and interior ministers on where to take this forward. And though Germany has now decided they're against the bill, it seems France is still very much on the fence. Obviously, the current government is up in the air at the moment, so that could change very quickly. But yes, it's one last crunch month before this goes to further negotiations in the EU.
I'm sure we will definitely be hearing more about this from you, Peter. Thank you very much.